Hello everyone, welcome back again. Another week of drawing. This week we're going to continue on our journey around the world. Last week we visited, where did we go? We went to Paris. This week we are going to be going to Italy and we're going to draw the Leaning Tower of Pisa, a very famous world landmark or piece of architecture that people go and visit. What do you need to do that? Same as each and every other week. Something to draw on, some sort of paper, it doesn't matter how big it is. Something to draw with, like a grey lead or pencil, or you can go straight up with a marker. I'll probably go with a pencil first and then go over it with a Sharpie maybe. And something to colour in with, because we'll be adding a background and all that kind of stuff. So colouring in, you can use whatever you like. Could be coloured pencils, could be textures, could be crayons, could be pastels, could be paint. It's entirely up to you. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get creative. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we were visiting Italy and we're going to be doing the Leaning Tower of Pisa. P-I-S-A. And what I think you should do is probably use a ruler to get started with this, just to make it a little bit easier to draw instead of having to do it freehand. You can do it freehand, it's not a big deal. If you want to go without a ruler and do some sketching, that's great. But I think for this activity I'm going to use a ruler just to get the angle of the Leaning Tower of Pisa fairly correct. So, having said that, what we're going to do, we want it to be pretty much centered as we can, and you want to have your ruler on an angle something like that to start. We'll try and use as much of the paper as we can. As you can see, I've got my paper in a portrait direction. So the Leaning Tower, with this tower, it's pretty much all the same width all the way up except for the top, the very top floor of the building. So, and that one we do a little bit narrower than the rest. Now, using a ruler to do this part will require to rub some stuff out later on, but I'm going to go over all of this with Sharpie anyway, and then I'm going to rub out. So don't worry too much about overlapping lines and things. Let's just make a start. Okay, so as I said, that's the sort of angle you want. I'm going to draw a line pretty much about 3/4 of the way up the page, something like that. There, don't press too hard. You don't really need to if you're going to go over it with Sharpie anyway. And then we're going to draw another line that's parallel to this one, on the same angle, and as best an angle as we can get to this one, and it's not going to go quite as high because we want to have the top of this angled, the roof sort of section, so we know the building's on a lean. So I'm going to draw it about, well, let's go around about here, something like that. So that sort of looks quite parallel. If you wanted to get fussy, you could measure from here to here and from here to here and get the angle perfect. But I'm just going to sort of eyeball it, put it up about there somewhere, something like that. Now the roof is on an angle, as I said, so we want it to look something like this, as if we were drawing like a rectangle. We want that to be a straight line going across here. So if you're looking down here, you can see, yep, that would make right there pretty much a good rectangle. If we were looking at that, and it was a rectangle on an angle, that would be pretty much the end of that rectangle. So what I'm going to do is on this side, I'm going to draw that angled roof for the, that's for the, how many stories we've got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 stories up, and then the last one, as I said, will be a little bit narrower up the top here on top of the building. Right now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to maybe start from the bottom floor, and again that angle has to match this one. all of these lines that we're going to have to show how many floors there are need to match that angle there. Actually, while we're right here right now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw that in there, like so. Now these, you don't have to get perfect, but that's the sort of thing that's going to separate the floors. They're like the cement block floors that separate, or the roof above the floor below. So it'll be something like that that we've got separating each of the floors. So the one down the bottom is actually a little bit higher, so you can remembering we need to keep that angle. You could work your way down if you wanted to, it wouldn't be a big deal, and again it doesn't matter if you don't get exactly the right amount of floors in here, that's okay. So I'm going to draw the next one right around here somewhere, that bottom floor. I'm going to draw right around here, and that's going to go somewhere like that. So I'm just going to draw a line going across here like that. If they're a little bit off, look, it's no big deal. Look at the building, it's not exactly straight. So I'm going to draw a bunch of these things now. So this will be, we want to keep these the same sort of thickness. So all the rest that I do want to be about that thick. So if I do that here with a little bit sticking out from each side, each end, and a little bit sticking out like we've got here, there, okay. And now what we could do from here is work our way up, put the rest of those floors in, and we can do that. Now as I said, there's so there's this floor here, the bottom floor, that's got sort of bigger archways in it down here, and then all the rest from here up to there are the same size. So what we want to do is now divide this section here into 1, 2, 3, having four more of these. So if you wanted to, what you could do is measure that, and from there to there is, let's say it was 16 centimeters, so it's not too bad. We want, it's actually about 16 and a quarter, but let's just say it's 16. You could divide each of these now into 4, couldn't you? Because we need 4 more floors or divisions of these things. So if you wanted to, you could measure that and put a 4 centimeter dot there, 8, somewhere there, 12, somewhere there, and then that top one there. So you could do that if you wanted to, or you can eyeball it. It's not a big of major importance really. Somewhere here, 8 there, 12 there, and that gives us the divisions that we need for the floor, trying to keep them in line and the same angle and thickness as the ones we've done previously. Remember, they stick out from the sides a little bit, just like that. And if you wanted to, what you could do is just do that single line all the way up first and have a look to make sure you've got the same sort of angle happening here, something like that, and then another one here, something like that. And then you can see that's a little bit bigger, that floor there. It's no big deal. I could have made these about 4.2 millimeters each, but we don't have to be that perfect. Now the other thing we want to do here is now make these slabs. So I'm going to, because I've done that one going up and I've measured from there, I'm going to go up above to put in the rest of the thickness of these floors, like that. One. Now remember, I'm just going to go over this with Sharpie when I'm done, so I'm not going to be too crazy on the accuracy here. So, and around about the same thickness as the other ones, you can see there, something like that. So just finish those off around about the same length sticking out on the sides as the rest. Now remember, we're going to use a rubber to fix things up. I might have gone a little bit skinny compared to these ones, but look, it'll look alright. Next, what we want to do here is do our arches inside here. Now there are 3 in the bottom floor, so what we're going to do there is put in, I'm going to put the centre one in first, and that's going to be on the same angle as these lines here. So that one's going to go in there like so, big arch there, and then another one here which is of similar size but a little bit thinner. So it's about the same height but a bit thinner, like that, on an angle. Remember, the same angle as these lines here, and again around about the same height on this one, maybe about almost the same width from the side of the door, the building, I mean, from there. That's not perfect, but it will do. Something like that. So that's the sort of thing you want there with those bottom floor arches, and I'll go over that with Sharpie and rub out the pencil lines later. Now, each of these floors has about, what's it got? Five of these, but they're much skinnier. Okay, and they pretty much go from top to bottom, just with a little gap. So from the bottom, I'm going to put one in the middle first, and then I can put 2 on each side of that. So the middle one's going about here, like this. 1 there, and then I need to fit in 2 more here and here. And these are repeated all the way up to the top, and again they're on the same angle as these lines here. So 2 more here, 1 there, and another one there. Now remember, you want to sort of keep these in a similar position now and get those all, so make sure you get this first row where you want it. If you're not happy with how far apart they're spaced out, you try that again, rub it out and have another go at it. But they're okay. So you see from the bottom where that line is going across, pretty much up to almost right up to the top to the next level, but not quite touching. And then you repeat this all the way up. So we do the same thing until now we get to the top. Same sort of thing like that. And we repeat it for each level, making sure they're on a similar angle to the ones below and these walls on the sides. So do that all the way up for each floor, and that's sort of the Leaning Tower look, the Leaning Tower of Pisa look, with these arched sorts of windows. Now again, this is a really old structure, so or piece of architecture, so you don't have to be perfect. There could be some imperfections in this building, of course there are. Have a look at the lean on it due to the ground that surrounds it. So anyway, you do those all the way up, and we're doing our final floor now, up here, something like that, something like that, as long as they're similar positions to the floor below and a similar size, so they look fairly consistent. So there we have it. The last floor has a smaller floor. It's not as wide as those, so what we do there, it's only got 3 windows. So if we're looking at these 3 windows here, that's about where we need to do our walls. So the walls for this would be around about there, like so, and we want to have the windows sort of in line with these ones. Okay, again we need, it'll be a similar height, so if you wanted to, we did our floors at 4 centimeters, so there's 4 centimeters up to there. So about there is where we need the height of the floor. Okay, again this floor is on the same angle as these walls, and we're putting in the top has a floor or a roof similar to these things here, which is a little stick out and the same thickness. So that's the sort of thing that we want. And then our 3 windows, you can put the one in the middle first if you like, so you've got how much room you've got for your other 2. Here's the other one in here, there, and then the other one in there, just like that. Now I'm going to go over this with Sharpie, but that's the leaning tower. What I suggest you do just to finish that off is put in, if you want to, I've got my building right along the ground, so my horizon line I'm going to sort of put at the back here a bit of a horizon line so you can't see the ground in front of my leaning tower. You want that line going in a similar position here. Where's that? There somewhere. And I'm going to put maybe some bushes or tree line or something in the background, like that, and another one over here, something like that. And I might do a couple of clouds and stuff up here. So I'm going to put a straight bottom on this cloud and then have a bit of a cloud coming down there like that, and another one over here, a straight bottom. And if you wanted to, you could put the sun up there or something poking out behind a cloud. Maybe I'll do that, have a bit of a sun there, a bit of a sun sticking out. Yeah. Anyway, I'll go over this with Sharpie and speed everything up and then add some colour. I hope you enjoy this activity, girls and boys, and I will see you again next time. Bye.
Flinter.